want you to know that you're welcome to join us at 10 a.m. on Sundays. Please be sure to hit subscribe to receive our sermons.
I am
We can't
so
wait to meet
tempted to talk about the Old Testament right now. So tempted. But everyone here knows that all women you know meet this description. So we're good. We're good. And I'm wearing purple today. So you're welcome, Eric. You're welcome. He's so lucky. Okay, so we're going to talk about the gospel today. And I think it's really important. So let's talk about what's going on there. All the bros, they're all hanging out with Jesus, and he's taking a break from all the miracle stuff going on because he's really trying to explain to them what is actually going on. Because remember, we keep getting distracted by free food. And I'll be the first to acknowledge, when there's food in the teacher's lounge, I am there. We're all that way. Free food? Hello. Have you ever seen the kids shoot out of here after church to go get the cheese at coffee hour? It's like this mass herd. So we're all that way. And so he's pulling back a little bit, and he's like, okay, we need to actually talk about what all of this means. We need to do some teaching. And he's been teaching. And have you ever talked with a kid? And we all love to lecture kids, right? Because it makes you feel so good. You're like, I am nailing this. I've given them examples from my own childhood. You're 10 minutes into this lecture, and you're feeling really good about it. You take a breath, and you look at them, their eyes are closed. I'm glad you're feeling good about this lecture, but it's not doing anything. Lectures don't do anything for anybody. And if you think I don't know that, I can ask you on Wednesday what I talked about, and you're like, it was great. Yes. Until I tell you that Aldi's has a really good price on grapes, and you're like, yes, I gotta write that down. Gotta go to Aldi's this week. So that's how we all are. And that's exactly how the disciples are. One, Jesus is kind of wordy. And they're like, yeah, what happened to free food? So they go kind of glazed. And then it's complicated. They don't really get it. And who is ever comfortable? You're in a big group of people, and you just assume everyone else understands what this person is saying. So they're like, do you have any questions? No. Nope. No questions. Because you're like, surely everyone else got that. I've got to be the only person here. I'm going to be pulling my pants up a lot during church because I forgot to wear a belt. So I see you all what is she doing? It's me hitching up my pants. I know. Eric, where's your belt? Okay, so they're like, no, we're not going to ask any questions because we don't look stupid. And he's like, okay. And so they keep on going along. And they've been arguing with themselves about who's the favorite. And this is every human ever. Who's teacher's favorite? Who's mom and dad's favorite, right? So they've been battling about this in the back seat of the station wagon as Jesus is driving along. And he's like, so what were you arguing about in the back of the station wagon? And they're like, nothing. We get along great. Everything's fine. And you're halfway to Florida, and you're like, everything is not fine. And you're like, don't make me come back there. I'm going to pull over. So Jesus pulls over, and he's like, guys, seriously. So the major point of all of this is that the disciples are really worried about what they look like. They don't want to look stupid. They don't want Jesus to know that they've been bickering about what they know to be a stupid subject. They are really concerned with how they look right now. We don't want to look stupid. We've all been there. The whole beauty of this gospel is we are those disciples. We are. This speaks to us so loudly because we don't want to speak up. We don't want to ask the questions. We don't want to be honest about not knowing or about worrying about our place in God's eyes. We are those people. How many people have ever listened to any sermons or any religious stuff and you're like, that makes zero sense? None. Why is Meg talking about a station wagon? Right? And you're like, But you don't want to ask because you don't want to look stupid. Because, like, clearly all the other Christians get this. I mean, this makes sense to all other Christians, and you've been told in churches, don't ask questions. Okay, maybe not an Episcopal church, but you may have gone to another church, and you're like, do not question Jesus. And really don't question the clergy person because it makes us feel really defensive and awkward because we might not know the answer. Y'all know I don't know the answers. We've been doing this for a few years now. Like, y'all know. Ask the questions. The disciples didn't know either. And think about how much better their Christian journey would have been if they piped up and been like, wait, no, I don't get it. What about this? What about this? I'm nervous that you don't love me as much as you love them. Don't you think Jesus would be open to hearing that? Don't you think that we worship a God who's open to us having questions? I mean, God hands us a whole lot of really weird things in this world, like other humans, and like humidity, and weird bugs. Roaches, what's up with roaches? That is like at the top of my list when I get to heaven. What's up with the roaches? They have like zero purpose. We have questions. Evolution doesn't necessarily make sense, and we've been taught in secular Christianity that we're not supposed to believe in it. Hello? Like, have you looked at this world around us? It is amazing. It is incredible, and it is full of questions. And those questions are where God is. But we're so worried about how other people see us or experience us that we're not willing to dive into those questions. We cover them up. We act like we don't have them. We act like maybe if our faith were greater, those questions wouldn't exist. But I will tell you, God is in the questions. God is when you're willing to go where you don't understand you are and explore it and want to know it anyway. That is where God sits. God is in your vulnerability when you feel completely worthless and unworthy. And you're like, there's no way that God loves me. That's where God sits. When you are willing to go to those places, you will find God. But we have a hard time doing it, right? So we're going to do a little exercise. Y'all got really nervous when I had Brooke give you note cards and pens. Because you're like, oh God, she's going to ask us to take notes. Y'all, this is Episcopal Church. I'm not going to ask you to take notes. Unless it's like, hey, I need to put together my grocery list this week. And I've only got like 5 more minutes because we go to the grocery store after church because it's like not crowded then. That's cool. You be you. Now, what I'm going to have you do is, because I know we all have questions that we've never felt comfortable asking. Or we've been like, maybe there's not an answer. Does this make me sound weird? Has everyone else wrestled with this? So in a safe place, you are going to write down your questions. Write them down on your note card. And then you can put them in the plates when they come around. If you're watching online because you didn't feel like coming to church today, looking at you, you will not have the same anonymity because you'll have to email them to me if you want me to answer those questions or explore them. And to be honest, you're all going to have questions I don't necessarily have the answer to. And that's okay. It's not about the answers. It's about going into the questions together. So we're going to do that. And depending on how many questions I have, we might take a couple weeks to do it. Last time I did this, it took us like 2 months. And if you know me, you know that I hate sermon series. Like, hate them. Because I strongly believe that the gospel speaks to us and that the scriptures that we have for this week speak to us. So I really want us to always be able to dive into those. And I don't like glossing over them. But we will try and answer some of these questions, or we'll talk about them a little bit. So please, nobody, you don't have to put your name on it. I don't know it was you. But I promise you, if you're wondering, someone else is wondering. I may well be wondering. So go ahead and write them. Give yourself that space, because you want to know the beauty of of Jesus understanding kids. Well, one, at this time, kids are not considered human. You don't get a soul until you're 8. And if you know any 9-year-olds, you're not so sure that they got one at 8. But, that's our belief. So when Jesus takes a minute to pay attention to the children and to say, this is what faith actually looks like, that's a powerful image. And it's because I have a 4-year-old, a 7-year-old too. We've all had experience with little kids. They have zero filter, like none. They don't have a concept of external judgment. They don't. So if they have a question or they have a concern or they choose to dress themselves this morning, they're not worried about what you think. They're worried about, like, I have a question. I want to understand. I'm curious. I like the way these socks go with this skirt. They don't go with this skirt. But they have no sense of external judgment. And that is what we are called to be like as Christians. We're not concerned about what everyone else thinks about our faith journey because it's ours. And we like the way our journey is going right now. Or, I'm curious. I want to know more. And I'm not worried about whether or not you judge me for wanting to know more because I'm curious. We are called to be like that. We're called to have such a strong sense of wonder that we go there whether or not anyone else thinks that we should go there. So I ask you, on your card, go there. Go to those places that it seems like you shouldn't go. That you should already have the answer because everyone else seems to know, or because you are worried that maybe it's a bad question. Is it wrong for me to wonder these things? What are you curious about? What do you want to know? What confuses you? What excites you? What makes you feel wonder? Write it down. And we will continue to go through them as we go through the next few weeks. All righty, get writing.
We want you to know that you're welcome to join us at 10 a.m. on
You
Sundays.
guys need a couple minutes?
Please be sure to hit subscribe to receive our sermons.
Or do you want to
We can't wait to meet you.